Hey, Coach. Just talk about. I mean, I know you've seen players have to try and come back from an ACL injury. How difficult is it to just come close to being the same player you were before that injury?
Yeah, I mean, I think it takes a tremendous amount of resolve. I think you've got to really love the game of football. There's certainly tremendous challenges that come along with battling back from that kind of injury. And I think for Drue to have done what he's done and be playing at the level he's playing at is a testimony not only to him as a player but also to him as a person and his commitment to this game.
We'll stay on the left.
Coach, what was the biggest challenge for you, to kind of get things turned around for this defense this season?
I think it was just instilling in us a culture of how we wanted to play the game. I don't know that it was necessarily a challenge because we got a great group of kids that really wanted to change, and it wasn't a group that was fighting, needing to change. I think they wanted to be successful. They wanted to do the things that they needed to do to be successful. And so just kind of creating a culture of what defense was and what we wanted that vision to look like. And, these guys have all taken it and ran with it.
TV Riser on the right.
Hey, Coach, what have you seen on film in preparation for this specifically, as kind of Drue said, with a lot of motions in Matt Canada's offense and Darius Geis who can just run a football field whenever he wants, it seems like.
Yeah, the biggest challenge they present is you've got to be able to get your feet set in the ground because they're extremely gifted athletically. They've got two great backs. They got some really talented kids on the outside. They got a big offensive line. And if you're ever short numbers, if you're ever not aligned properly, if you're ever not set, they're going to really take advantage of you. And so, trying to make sure that we give them enough looks that we can be multiple, but that our kids feel real confident with what we're trying to do so that we can get set and get ready to go.
Questions? Right up here, second row.
Mike, a couple of your players talked about one of the big things early on was just convincing them to have some confidence about what they could do. How did you go about doing that in the offseason without being so obvious about it that you could sort of create successful situations for them that they could build on?
Yeah, I don't know. I think that's always a fickle thing. I think one of the things we try to do, and we talked a lot about this through the offseason, was try to put these kids in positions that accentuated their strengths. And so I think they got into positions where they felt good about what we were asking them to do, which allowed them to start having success, which allowed it to continue, and then it kind of snowballs from there. I think Drue's a great example of that, right? Moving to a position where, he's been outstanding at a position that I think accentuates everything he does well. And then that confidence just kind of grows from there.
I asked Coach Kelly about this the other day, just about the rapport within the staff, because it's some guys coming from different areas.
Right.
And he mentioned your relationship with Mike Elston was pretty easy to get established. How important was that to sort of get everybody on the same page defensively when it's you and Clark coming from Wake and then Todd's here and Mike's here? Yeah,
I mean, obviously really important. I think continuity amongst the staff is huge. I think I think personality-wise, you just got a bunch of guys that want to win and want to do what's best for Notre Dame. You don't got a lot of egos in our room. You don't got a lot of agendas in our room. And so that has made it really easy. I think we've just kind of blended well to put a good product on the field.
Just a couple of more questions, as the Notre Dame sports information staff are going to make these guys available outside for one-on-ones as well. We'll go here and then here.
Coach, as you kind of look, it's been almost, I think, about a year now since you really got here after your guys' bowl win last year over Temple. What are the areas you would say as you kind of look back from the beginning when you got here to now, the areas where you feel like your group has really improved the most?
Oh, gosh, a lot. I think just a commitment to playing the game the right way, playing with tremendous effort, understanding the privilege it is to play Notre Dame football, giving it all they have every single time we go out on the field, practice, games, and then just I think across the board, fundamentally, we've become a much better defense, just every area of that.
As you kind of look a little bit past the LSU game into the offseason, now that you've kind of have laid that foundation, obviously year one's a foundation year. You've got those guys playing in the culture.
Yeah.
Moving forward, what are the areas that you really want to see the most growth kind of heading into year two?
Yeah, I think year two really allows you to really attack the details of what you're trying to get accomplished. I think, you get to a point where so much year one is broad stroke because you got to get it all in and you got to be able to run, and that clock is coming to start the first game. I think now that the kids have a really solid base, you can really go back and refine everything you're trying to do, and I think you'll see a group that understands the details of what we want to accomplish a lot better.
Mike, could you address what Matt Canada does with his offense and how he builds from play to play and also forces you? I think they run more jet sweeps than any team you're going to see. How he builds his offense from play to play and the challenge of defending the entire width of the field.
Yeah. What Matt Canada does is drive defensive coordinators crazy. There's a tremendous amount of shifts and motions, right, which force your kids to communicate at a high level. Then you have the jet sweeps with all of the complementary runs off of them. I think they do a really good job of creating different surfaces, which make it hard for you to set edges, and so you've really got to spend a lot of time focusing on how you're going to set the edges to the defense to make sure you're not getting outflanked and out-leveraged, and then it almost is an option style running attack where, guys are going to be assigned to certain pieces of this thing, and they're going to have to be disciplined for 4 quarters to do their job, and if we can do that, we can have success. The second one guy gets nosy or peaky or lazy, now all of a sudden there go the explosive plays.
I think maybe people that don't know the LSU program really well, they're aware of Darius Geis,
right.
And if you could address what he does, but also Darrell Williams, who has 7,700 yards rushing, or 770 yards rushing, 9 touchdowns, and averages more per carry than Geis actually does.
Yeah, I mean, these two backs are extremely explosive. I don't know why they haven't quite got the national headlines as a pair. As we look at them, they're as good as we've seen. Don't want to make comparisons to other teams, but they are really, really talented. And they're both very similar. They're both big, strong, physical backs that can get downhill, can stick a foot in the ground and change direction well, can hit the explosive plays. And so we're gonna have our hands full with those guys.